Welcome to the Press Row Show, the #1 rated pregame, intermission, and postgame show this side of the Mississippi, north of the equator, south of the Arctic Circle. And I'll tell you one thing. If I can tell you one thing in this world, I'll tell you one, I'll tell you two, I'll tell you three, I'll tell you four. Anthony SanFilippo is not here. Some of you have unfortunately been cursed into seeing his Tootsie Toes. And Anthony SanFilippo is on a beach somewhere at Turks and Caicos. We saw his feet. I never wanted to see his feet. One person whose feet we will not see on the ice tonight, Jamie Drysdale. And I am here with the incomparable Bill Meltzer for pregame as we await Bundy's return from radio. Intern Andrew's on the ones and twos. Bill, it's great to be back here. Great to be here with you.
Always a pleasure. And really big game tonight. Coming off of a couple better games. You know, if you beat San Jose, then you can maybe see your way back to level ground. But if you lose this game, then anything you accomplish in that road trip is out the window to me.
Let's talk about that road trip, shall we?
Yes, let's talk about that road trip.
There's something that happened on that road trip that has obviously lit Flyers Twitter ablaze. It's probably lit apart, not only Twitter, but all social media. It's probably been a conversation even for those who their only interaction with social media is coming here to the Press Row Show. And that, of course, is the benching, the scratching of Matvei Michkov in not just one, but two games on that trip against Tampa Bay, which ends up being a shootout win, and then after that against Florida, which ends up being a shootout loss. So we have to dive into it. What was your initial, I want to go back to the Tampa game first. In that vacuum, that one game, what were your thoughts on Torts benching Michkov against Tampa?
I didn't like it for a particular reason. Okay, I understand sometimes a young player, you might sit him a game, and it's not the end of the world. But I did not like it going into that game for a specific reason that Tampa coming into that was taking a lot of penalties and having trouble killing off those penalties. Flyers were still struggling in 5-on-5, and I thought their best chance going in was to, if you win it, win on the power play.
Yep.
Right? Michkov has been their best power play guy this season. And going into the third period, they only had one power play, but they finally got their second of the game. That power play went nowhere. They couldn't even get set up on that second power play. And it ended up being a non-factor only because Owen Tippett scored in the last 5 minutes. So you go overtime, you end up winning a shootout. You were that close to getting shut out. And to me, not having him on that power play and available for the power play, that third period. And I'm not saying he would have scored, but I think he had a better chance of scoring with him on the ice. It ended up working out. The second game with Florida, again, going into it, just because Florida's typically such a good 5-on-5 team, and that's where he's struggling. So if you would have sat him in one game, I would have understood that one a little bit more. I didn't love sitting him back to back though, because there aren't very many guys on the team who can create something out of nothing sometimes. Yeah. And whether it's been on some kind of couple delayed penalties or 4-on-4 power, whatever, he can make something happen for you. I understand that in terms of the forechecking schemes and him going to the wrong place sometimes, even after being shown video and being corrected on that, it still is an ongoing issue, and it is something that will need to be fixed and corrected. I'm not a big believer in sitting a player who's a big part of your plan moving forward for multiple games.
Oh, he's part of the plan?
Apparently,
Matvei Michkov is going to be part of this thing beyond this year, or maybe beyond next year.
You would think, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, that somebody drafted where he was and his skill level certainly fits that description. So, I'll bet he's chomping at the bit tonight to go out there tonight, show a thing or two. But The adjustments are real.
Yeah.
The adjustments are still ahead of them. I do want to correct also something that was out there.
Uh-oh.
People saying that, oh, well, he's never played that many games. And blah. The KHL, they do have scheduled breaks.
Yeah.
Okay? So their scheduled breaks, they have more scheduled breaks than the NHL does. But when they're playing as many games a week as the NHL does. Plus, look at the geography of Russia and the KHL. There's a ton of travel that they have to.
It's a big country.
Last year he had a bout of pneumonia, and that's why he missed a big chunk of the season. I don't put any of it. He's never played that many games. I just think it's the adjustment.
I want to get back into this Mishkov thing a little bit. Because I did a little bit of asking around. Now, I'm sure you're aware, Ant would remind you, Bundy probably would, Intern would. I've been known for being a little bit hyperbolic at times. When Torts benched, scratched Mishkov in the first game, a lot of people were incensed. We hadn't done a Snow the Goalie. There was no Press Row show because they were on the road. I went on to my show, the Russ Joy Show. Find it every Tuesday and Friday, 8:30 a.m. on YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. I talked about this, and I said, believe it or not, I wasn't upset with Torts benching, scratching Mishkov for a game because he's 19. We have seen his struggles at 5-on-5. He always looks like a legitimate threat on the power play. He's their most dynamic player in a decade. But it's not a bad guy to have on your power play. But I understand that in the course of an 82-game season, you're going to want to give the guy the opportunity to watch from up here, right? Because you kind of broke down the difference between watching the game up at this level and getting to see everything macro view versus being down at ice level. The second game is what I had the problem with. I don't care if Torts had benched him in 2 out of 3 games, no issue. Because the idea would be you bench him for the first game, you then reinsert him into the lineup, see if he implements whatever adjustments you wanted to get out of him. If he doesn't, quick yank again because 19, give him a second. You didn't do it, we're going to keep doing this. That's kind of the message you're sending. To me, back-to-back didn't make sense. I saw people on Twitter then saying, well, you want to let him sit against 2 of the better teams in the league. You know, what better 2 games to have him sit out? I mean, let's be honest. If this game were happening in San Jose, he might have been benched again. I firmly believe, and I'm not putting Bill on the spot here, but I firmly believe there is 0 chance in hell that John Tortorella has the clearance from anybody in this organization to sit Matvei Mishkov at any point in the first 10, 15, 20 home games of the season. People who bought tickets this year to see this team, they did it to watch Matvei Mishkov. They're not buying the tickets for Eric Johnson, or Ryan Poehling, or Garnet Hathaway. No disrespect. But he's back in the lineup tonight. I'm not sure if he would have been had this been another West Coast game.
Maybe not. I think you would want him back in, if only because, and no disrespect intended, right?
None.
But how much value are you getting out of 5 minutes out of Nick Delorier, right?
If Nick Delorier's in, I expect a helmet cracked.
Well,
I expect somebody to remember running into him on the ice.
Yeah, if you're going up against Matt Rempe, you're going up against Ryan Reeves.
Yep.
I can understand. You're expecting a physical kind of a game. But these last couple games have not really been the spot where you use them. It's been more of a math thing with him, with Mishkov sitting. Yeah. So I would think that against an opponent that's the kind of team you could get going against, I would hope he would have been back in the lineup, whether it's home or road. Listen, there's a reason why Carolina is the best puck possession team in the NHL. They're so good at 5-on-5, and aren't a lot of teams that look very good 5-on-5.
Yep.
Do you remember? You see the shot attempts in that game? 86 to 37.
Crazy.
Right? Insane. Yeah. Insane. That's not something you can ever pin on one player.
Sure.
So.
The other guy that we have to talk about is the guy who went on IR today.
Yeah.
Though, boy, there's some things going around about that one, but Jamie Drysdale apparently is about to fall apart. No, or maybe not. Maybe it's not a falling apart. Emil Andre, they've gotten a nice look at him. Cam York could be coming back pretty soon. What better way to get a look at Emil Andre than if there is an injury of some sort to Jamie Drysdale? Yeah, maybe get to give him a little bit of a longer look with Drysdale on IR. Drysdale has not looked good for much of the season, has looked largely underwhelming. The only thing right now holding this fan base together is that Quitter Gauthier doesn't look particularly great for Anaheim right now. Otherwise, there'd probably be even more of an outcry. Assuming Drysdale is hurt enough to be on IR and all that, where do you stand on his play so far this season? Because from my eyes, which are certainly not your eyes, the all-knowing, all-seeing Bill Meltzer, he has not looked particularly good in any facet of the game.
No, very, very sporadic. You know, a guy who can skate the way that Drysdale can, and he's an exceptional skater. And was drafted as high as he was to be an offensive-minded defenseman. You're gonna take some trade-off without the puck, and he still requires a lot of work without the puck. But to me, he's not assertive at all.
Yeah.
And in terms of triggering rushes and getting your game up ice in transition, I think Andre's been markedly better at it. Now, going into the year, anytime somebody's coming off of core muscle surgery, it can take them half a year. But that being said, I would have liked to have seen more, at least more. I don't know, just something more, right? A little bit more assertive, a little bit making more plays. He can do those things. He has the capability of doing it. Then you go back to that. To me, is the risk of when you bring an 18-year-old right into the NHL, because sometimes developing those guys can go sideways on you. Anaheim didn't draft him where they drafted him because he doesn't have the physical tools. Then again, they didn't trade him when they traded him because they were happy with his development either. So I have concerns. I have concerns as to what his level of hockey sense is, how much he's developed off the puck, and really because of what his core competencies are supposed to be. I want him more involved in the play.
You remember in grade school, maybe it's middle school, it's the relationship thing in math class, right? Or they even do it in like English language arts, right?
Yeah.
Use the colon and the double colon. It's like this is to this as that is to that. So in theory, if you're talking about power play potential and maybe struggling at even strength, Matvei Mishkov is to offense for a forward as Mr. Drysdale is on offense on the power play. And yet, where Mishkov has at least given you something on the power play, Drysdale's not. Drysdale, the thing that is the most concerning to me, just doesn't get the puck on net, which you would kind of expect of a guy that's supposed to be like the QB of PP1.
He doesn't like to shoot.
Which makes no sense.
He'll have a shooting lane, and he'll immediately look for who can he pass it off to. And he has a decent shot. I want to see him use it. Like one thing that you'll notice right away, Andre's not afraid to shoot.
Yep.
So even Zamula's not afraid to shoot. Doesn't always make
I'm
the best
afraid to have
decisions.
Zamula on the ice.
I was gonna say not always the best decisions.
Yeah.
But he's not afraid to shoot the puck. I have concerns because I don't see where Drysdale's developed much, and I know injuries have been a big part of it,
Sure.
and you have to keep that in mind too. But his development cycle so far to me has been underwhelming, and I have concerns moving forward.
And unfortunately, we're not trying to pile on here. They traded their best domestic prospect. Now, granted, they were kind of over a barrel. The word was going to get out. Apparently had started already kind of getting out about Gauthier not wanting to be here. So they had limited dance partners in the trade market.
Right.
However, it was supposed to be a trade that you walk away with feeling at the very least you're going to get comparable value. And again, if Gauthier right now were putting up points consistently, if he looked like the sniper that people expected, granted, he's a young rookie, right? First year, first full season in the NHL. If he were putting the biscuit in the basket, this would look significantly worse. Let's just play a game.
All right.
Let's assume, just for the sake of argument, that Jamie Drysdale's shoulder is not about to fall off his body, okay? And that perhaps this is as much of a mental break as it is a physical one. What do you look for when he comes back into the lineup, which might be next week, it might be the week after, hopefully it's not longer, but like what is it that you look for if you were his coach that you're like, simplify things and do this. This is the one thing that you have to focus on when you get back. Do this one thing. Don't worry about anything else, this one thing. What is it?
I want him jumping into plays. That's the number one thing that you want him to be good at, and he doesn't. He does not jump into nearly enough plays. He's very hesitant, and and it's not an injury thing. I do think that other things too. I want to see him triggering more rushes, triggering plays in transition. He had a couple pretty bad gaffes last game that ended up not going against them.
Yep.
So you kind of forget these scoring chances that don't end up in the net, whether it's for you or against you. Those kind of go by the wayside. But some really odd decisions at times where it's like I'm not sure what he hoped to accomplish.
You know what's worrisome about him is that, and you and I were talking about this before we went live. If Drysdale looked like 70% of himself, and you said, well, the reason that he's not fully him is because he's overthinking it because he's protecting, because he's afraid of hurting the shoulder again, which cost him time in Anaheim, obviously cost him time in his first season with the Flyers. And looks like it's going to cost him more time, however much now. If it were that, you'd say, okay, he's still young, he's not a big guy, he's not a particularly stacked, physically imposing guy. You'd go, all right, it's disappointing that he still kind of plays a weaker game, not as hard-nosed, right? Blue-collar mentality. But it's not that. Like, it's the instinctual plays, to your point, that he's not making that really kind of like portend this not going well, and you have to hope that you can pull the nose up on it.
For sure. Even things like a quick defensive stick, right? Which he could do. I mean, he has really fast hands. He could create more opposing turnovers just with his stick, and he doesn't.
Yeah.
And those things that I think are well within his reach, I really want to see a whole lot more of. And again, the number one thing, I keep coming back to it too, a guy with his feet needs to use them.
Here's the good news. It's a rebuilding season, allegedly.
Yeah.
He's got to play. So if this is a mental and a physical break, he's got to get back in there, and he's got to be given the opportunity to find some kind of success. And if he drowns, he drowns. But at some point, you do have to throw him into the water and hope that he's going to show you that he remembers how to swim, that he remembers how to play this game in a way that it got the Flyers excited enough to kind of make him the centerpiece of the return for Gauthier. Now, before we get to another name that is very interesting, I have to take us to something that happened on social media earlier today. We alluded to it not that long ago, but in one of the most disturbing things that has ever crossed Flyers Twitter, we had a man check in, and I don't know if he's trying to be Kevin Weeks, I don't know what he's trying to be, but Anthony SanFilippo checked in from a beach in Turks and Caicos, and instead of doing a normal human thing, like, I don't know, just talking to people about how his honeymoon's going, he decided to hit us with this thing, and it is one of the most frightening things I have ever seen. Now I'm like just kind of screwing around here trying to figure out, there used to be a nice way to do this, and we don't have it now. But anyway, Anthony puts his feet on Twitter, okay? Which I think is definitely a violation, all right? I told him, put the Tootsies away. Twitter did not like this image. Now, Bill, if you were on your honeymoon in Turks and Caicos, far away from the Flyers, one, would your wife have been okay with you tweeting about the Flyers? Let's start there.
She would have had to be, but yeah.
Okay. And number two, how would she have felt about you showing off the Tootsies? I was cutting part of it off to save the audience's eyes, but
yes.
What do you think about the Tootsies? Good call, bad call?
That's definitely a bad call.
A bad call?
You're a fellow wrestling guy, right?
Yes.
I mean, Tony Atlas was like notorious as like the ultimate foot fetish guy. That could have cured him.
Like Rex Ryan.
Yeah, like Rex Ryan too. That could have cured him. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, at least get a petty. And if you're going to put your feet on Twitter, at least get a mani-pedi before you do it, all right? They don't have to be painted. Just a little bit of care. Hopefully Maria's going to get him to the spa. Anyway, we're going to take this off the screen now. I apologize to anybody. We probably should have had a trigger warning on there.
Yes, really.
Graphic, whatever. All right. Let's get back to something that also probably won't make people feel great. I know it probably won't make you feel great, but we have to have this moment, Bill.
All right.
Morgan Frost finds himself back in the Chateau Bow Wow.
Yeah.
In previous seasons, we've said, all right, again, youngish player, given the opportunity to watch, yada, yada. He has also been very up and down this season. Some would argue a lot more down than up.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on him coming out of the lineup, and maybe more importantly, your thoughts on where he stands right now going forward with this team, this coaching staff?
I will say that I think he deserves to be scratched tonight, particularly at 5-on-5. Morgan will be the first one to tell you he has to be a lot better. Very, very sporadic. Now, I'll add this piece in his defense. The first 8 games of the season, when the Flyers' power play was clicking, Michkov was obviously a big piece of that too. But hey, Frost racked up 4 power play assists, bang, 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 bang.
Yep.
Right? So that's a 40 assist pace just on the power play. Now nobody's going to sustain that, but the whole point is he was contributing something, right? Did score the shootout winner in the opener too, but at 5-on-5, his play has not been nearly good enough. He hasn't been creating nearly enough, and there were a couple games where I thought he was close to breaking through. He had a game in Washington where he had, I think, 7 shots on goal in that game. That's a game where he had that breakaway at the end of a really long shift. The light actually went on, and they said no goal when they replayed it, and it was the right call because it didn't cross the line. And then he had a bunch of open nets that he missed, and I really think that kind of got in his head a little bit. In talking to him, he's always been a guy who's, for as skilled as he is, has always kind of had fragile confidence. I think too many crises of confidence for Morgan sometimes. I have no issue with him sitting. My only issue is that there's still a lot of redundancy in that Flyers lineup. That Ryan Paling and Scott Lawton and Noah Cates are essentially the same hockey player. Frost, to me, is he a second-line center? Is he a third-line center? Somewhere in between, I don't know. But I think you don't have a ton of offensive skill on the team. He's the guy you need to get going at some point. But in terms of him sitting, no issues whatsoever because he hasn't played well enough.
We are not yet in organizational malpractice territory. I like to use that term with teams. I don't think it was a mistake necessarily that the Flyers didn't go out and get a center for Matvei Michkov on like a second line. But
centers don't really grow on trees.
Exactly.
Teams don't trade them.
Yeah.
If you have a guy who can play, you don't trade them. Yeah. They're very, very hard to get. First paired defensemen and top 6 centers are very hard to obtain. You kind of have to draft them.
Yeah.
And I still think, and I'll come back to this final point on Frost, and I don't like all his slow starts.
Sure.
He's had slow starts each of the last 3 seasons now. It's been part of the problem. Now, say that 2 seasons ago, the final 2/3 of the season, he led the team in scoring. Look it up, December 6th to the end of the season. Last year, from January 6th until right till the end of the season, led the team in assists, was 2 points off the team's scoring lead. So he can do it for stretches of a couple months at a time. But he can also go cold for long stretches. Yeah, and that's not okay. But, he has to put that aside and work through it. He's a restricted free agent after this year. His final year as a restricted free agent. A year from now, we go unrestricted. I don't know what the rest of this year holds for him, especially because you have a guy like Jet Luchenko in the wings, and I think he'll be in the NHL next year. So this is really kind of sink or swim time for Morgan. I don't think it's at the point where you pull the plug right now, but when he does get back in the lineup, he has to start producing, and it's simple as that.
If we're being objective here, and he's known as not being a 200-foot player.
I'm going to back you up.
Yes! Let's go.
So he doesn't kill you defensively at all. Okay? He's okay. He's not going to win these Selke trophies.
Yeah.
But But last year he actually was pretty good. He was pretty good at 5-on-5, and I'm talking about on the defensive side of the puck. He's way better than he came into the league as a defensive player. Now this year his plus minus is very ugly.
Yeah.
You know, and rightfully so, because he's been part of too much time in the defensive zone. That not nearly enough attack when he's been on the ice. But
All
I
right,
don't.
so let's adjust it.
Okay.
Morgan Frost is known as a mediocre 200-foot player.
He's okay. He's adequate.
All right. Decent enough.
Yeah, adequate.
If that is the book on him currently across the league,
Yeah.
and the Flyers deem, you know what, next season Jetlachenko is going to be the number 2 seed, and he and Michkov are going to play together, and it's going to be great. What kind of value would a Morgan Frost have right now? Like, just based on what we know of him, based on what GMs have seen of him on this team, accounting for the situation, accounting for the lack of skill of line mates and everything.
Yeah.
What do you think is a realistic return for a Morgan Frost?
Your realistic return is another guy who's 24, 25, 26 maximum years old, right? Drafted in the first round, clearly has skill, but it's not clicking where he is. It's one of those change of scenery trades. That's where I kind of think if you move Morgan, kind of what you're looking at, you're not going to get a first-round pick. You know, I mean, nobody's banging down the door for a guy who's been as inconsistent as Morgan has been. So I think you're looking at someone else who's been inconsistent, has talent, hasn't put it all together.
It'd be interesting if nothing else, like, get that deal done.
Yeah.
And if that guy's also not on a long-term contract, I mean, you could deal with another year of a tweener kind of player or a guy who maybe doesn't pan out. But at least you get another look. It just doesn't feel like there's a path now. At least with this coach, and at least with some of the guys that they've surrounded him with, it doesn't really feel like there's much of a path forward here. But we will find out. Now, one of the players who did take some significant steps, or it seemed like was playing very well before getting hurt, we mentioned him earlier in the show, Cam York. There are already conversations around whether or not he's going to get a bigger money contract when that time comes. How do you feel about Cam York's development to this point? And is he a guy that you look at and you
personality, and we see what he can do. So that you know, he won that battle. Not many guys get locked in. I want you to be this kind of player, and that guy is like, now this is the kind of player I am, and you know, and they come out ahead. So.
As we prepare, we're going to get into predictions here in a second. I want to remind people, if you are not familiar with this to this point, it's your first time checking out the Press Row Show, thank you. We do this every home game, pregame, intermission, and postgame, and then Snow the Goalie during the week. We tend to do at least one show a week, just kind of covering everything around the Flyers and some of the other teams in the league. If you haven't done so already, you can go subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts, and of course, over here on the Snow the Goalie YouTube channel. You can follow us on Facebook and X and all that. Now we have Bundy coming on, and so we're going to get into our predictions for this game. We're going to get intern Andrew to adjust the camera. He's actually, I haven't given intern Andrew a lot of...
You're leaving me with this guy tonight?
I haven't given him a lot of crap tonight. He's been on the ball. I think he's nervous. I think I think he fears you. 2, I think he respects Bill a lot. And 3, I think he's just glad that Ant isn't here. Look at him. Look at him. He's like glowing this evening. He's locked in. We want to get into predictions here, Bundy. We've been talking about all these. We talked about Frost. We talked about York. We talked about Drysdale, Mishkov, all of it. And I'm sure you guys will talk about it during intermissions. Let's get to the predictions for tonight. Their first game back after a successful, all things considered, road trip. Where did you land tonight?
I'm taking the Flyers. What did I say? 3-1, I think was my prediction. I believe I said 3-1. And I just like the Flyers to be able to come out of this hockey game tonight, get the lead, have a good start, and just mop up this team. And this should be a win tonight. You know, San Jose played last night. They got a win against the Devils. Back-to-back game. I mean, tonight, the Flyers should lock this game down tonight. They should.
Bill, we don't count your predictions, but we do respect and appreciate them. Where are you at tonight?
I have 4-2 Flyers with an empty net goal near the end.
Wow. Jaja. I have the Flyers losing this one 3-2 to the Sharks. I will not pick the Flyers until I believe they give me a reason to pick them. And while they did have a nice road trip, I'm not so sure. I'm just not feeling it tonight. I'll go over to intern Andrew. Well, intern Andrew, let's bring that beautiful mug up on the screen as well. Oh, wait, you don't have your extra camera shared. All right, now I'm giving him a hard time. Intern Andrew, go ahead without the camera for now. What's your prediction for tonight's game?
I agree with Bill. I said 4-2 Flyers as well.
There he is. There he is. Look at him. And we will also check in that Captain Paul Bunyan on the feet, Anthony SanFilippo, also checked in from Turks and Caicos. He graced us with a 4-2 Flyers win as his prediction tonight. Bundy, since I won't get to do this with you during intermissions, what's the one thing the Flyers need to do, let's say the first 5 minutes of this game, to get themselves started off on the right foot?
Establish a forecheck. This is a team you can get right after if you want, but you're going to have to put the work in. You're going to have to work as hard as you did against Florida and Tampa. Even though Flyers lost the game against Florida, they played a good game. Like, they played hard, and the trick is to play as hard against the worst team in the league than it is to play against the best team in the league. That's the lesson tonight. If you play the way that they played against Florida, they'll win this game tonight.
Bill, your thoughts?
I totally agree. The Flyers have to get after them on the forecheck. It's only been the last couple games where they've had any kind of a forecheck because they've been heading in their own end of the ice so much. So to start out attacking, and and obviously because the Flyers are in a 1 for 18 on the power play right now, get a power play. Hopefully Michkov, but we'll see.
Well, we will be back for intermissions. Bill and Bundy will take you through the rest of the game. First intermission, second intermission, post game. Intern Andrew will also be here. He's got his trivia of the game for the first period, first intermission. He's got intern Andrew trivia for the second period. What?
You said trivia twice.
All right, the fact, the
First
interesting
intermission
stat,
is
the
stat,
first
yeah.
intermission stat, second intermission trivia. It's gonna be a blast, and I will see all you guys the next home game. But thank you to everybody who checked in, and if you haven't done so already, like the video, share the video, subscribe, and do us one other favor, go into the comments section, not just the live chat, go into the comments section, and leave your thoughts. What do you agree with, disagree with? We'll be sure to get to that as well. Bill, anything before we head out?
Just interested to see if Urson can follow up his last game too. Urson's been a good role.
Do we have an update, by the way, on Kolosov? He sounded like at practice he might have caught a knock. Where we at there?
Yeah. Well, right now I think they're going to give Fedotov a couple more games backing up. They don't have back-to-back games, so they could roll with Urson for a while.
Yep. And with that, it's time to end pregame. We will be back for the first intermission. Thanks again for checking in here on the Press Row Show. Do you want to hit that outro? He's not ready. He's not ready. We'll do the outro here. All right. Talk to you all very soon.
All right. We made it back on the air somehow. The intern didn't screw this up. Not too badly.
We got to get our camera fixed, though.
You want me to move it a little bit?
Yeah, if you want. I'll just keep yapping while you're doing it.
All right, that's fine.
Flyers up 2-0 here, gang, in the early going. I had my 3 keys on 97.5 earlier. I said the start of the game has to be good, and the Flyers did a great job having a good start, getting the lead right away. Eric Johnson getting the scoring started for the Flyers. Then he had a fight right after. Bring Andrew in for this. What about Eric Johnson's fight after the 1-0 lead? I don't know if that looked like. I know it wasn't, but that looked like some old junior grudge, like where 2 guys would go at it from back in their days in junior. But Eric Johnson didn't play junior hockey, and he's been in the league forever.
I just think it's funny how you mentioned in pregame, the key to the game, establish the forecheck early, keep the energy high like they were in Florida. And we were not even 90 seconds into the game, and Eric Johnson was 2/3 of the way to the Gordie Howe hat trick.
He's 1 assist. If I were going back to the bench, if I were him, I'd say, okay, boys, I need 1 apple for the Gordie Howe.
I'm not shooting.
I'll pass it.
And here's the other thing.
No, here's Bill Meltzer. Bill's coming in, right? So that's why we had the 3-way camera. Come on in, Billy.
Who would have thought? If I had told you. Let Bill get over here.
Let him get set up here. He's walking from the press box. The great Bill Meltzer.
Welcome back.
Bill, we were just saying after the goal, it was a good goal by Johnson.
Yeah.
That looked like an old junior grudge fight after, didn't it?
Well, what happened was Giovanni Smith took a poke at Minchkov, and so Johnson was just standing up for him. I don't know where they would have ever had any kind of an issue. Giovanni Smith, I remember him with Kitchener Rangers, and they had a series against the Sioux Greyhounds, and he was a pain in the ass because he was starting shit with everybody.
Is that right? Yeah, he.
Maybe that's curse, but
it's all right. Yeah, it was one of those games that, like, at the start of the game, you just don't see that. A guy like Eric Johnson, right? And he ended up going in, and wasn't much of a fight, but at least he stuck up for him. I'm glad you picked that up, Bill.
I would assume that if I said to you before the game that the guy who scores the first goal of this game is a former #1 overall pick, I think all of us probably would have guessed it was Celebrini. But it was not. It was Eric Johnson.
Yes.
Bundy, you asked me during the first period what number Celebrini was, and I had to tell you he's number 71. So
yes.
I took that to mean that you were keeping an eye on him. I thought he was buzzing around a little bit.
I couldn't really see from up here. The San Jose numbers are hard to see.
He had a couple shots on net, though.
He did. He looked pretty good. You could tell he's going to be a guy that really gets his game going. He's going to be a good player in this league. Covers the whole ice, Bill?
He does. And he covers a lot of ground quickly, too. That's the biggest thing, too. Very assertive out there.
The second goal was the other part, which was the sticking point. I was talking to Bill before the game. Power play's been good to start the year, but they really hadn't been generating until really that goal, right?
Yeah, they were in a 1-for-18 funk going into tonight. I mean, you can't ask for better puck movement than that, though. That was textbook.
That one-timer from the circle was nasty.
It was, but also the 2 setup passes. Andre to Minchkov to Konechny in the bumper, and he got rid of it right away.
Really nice pass. What do you think of Mishkov's game tonight, Bill? A nice play on the power play.
Very nice power, yeah, and we all know he can produce in the power play.
Yeah.
I want to see him buzz a little bit 5-on-5.
Anyone?
A lot of people are blowing up in the chats right now praising Emil Andre. Yeah. What did you like from him?
He had a good game, good period.
Yeah. Like his feet. I like his ice vision. Very good passer. I mean, that was on display in that first period. And also, for a little guy, he's pretty fearless out there. I mean, he'll get involved.
I got a good story to tell after regarding what one guy just said. Should a Flyer go after? Where is it here? Did I lose it here?
I just put it up.
Yeah, there it is. Should a Flyer go after Celebrini in response to the clown going after Mishkov? And that points to what Bill was saying. One of the great stories that I had the pleasure of watching, and if you want to understand how it works and done well, the Craig Berube story against the New York Rangers in 2000
I know the story,
is one of the greatest things I've ever seen as a deterrence. So we're playing the last game of the year. People are going to love this story if you haven't heard me tell it before. And they had a guy called up. Remember, guys, Dale Purinton?
Yep.
So he got called up before the game, and Dale Purinton was not up there to showcase his skills. He was there for one reason, to agitate and fight if necessary. We'd already won the conference going into the last game of the year, and Purinton comes up, and I remember Craig Ramsey said before the game, I don't want any retribution. This guy's going to try to get some things going. I don't want anybody fighting him. I want nothing like that going on, because we have playoffs starting in 3 days. Nobody fights him. So the game starts. Dale Purinton ran Mark Recchi hard. He took a run at Keith Primo, and Keith Primo ended up almost fighting him. So we came back to the bench, and Craig Ramsey still saying, guys, good job. Do not instigate this guy. We're trying to get out of the game, get out of here with a win. Craig Berube looks at the bench and says, guys, just give me a second. I got this. He skates down at the intermission, at the break, not the intermission, the timeout on the ice. And Brian Leach is sitting at the end of the New York Rangers bench. And he goes up to Leach, and we're watching. There's like about 7 of us with our heads down towards the bench. And he screams out, and I can't not use the language. He says, hey, Leach, you better get your pet on a leash right now. And Purinton was next to him. Yep. Get your pet on a leash, or the next shift that he lays one finger on somebody, I'm going to drag you to center ice in front of your home crowd, and I'm going to beat you like a mule in front of everybody, and there's nothing you're going to do about it. Nothing you're going to do about it. And we looked over, and Brian Leach had his arm around Purinton. He's going like this. No more. And he said, basically, told the guy no more. Yeah. There wasn't another hit the rest of the game. Not another hit.
Yeah. Really?
And it was the most unbelievable deterrence I've ever seen. And I remember Chief coming back, smiling at the bench, no teeth. He goes, don't worry, boys. There won't be another hit the whole night.
Did you win?
Yeah, we won.
Oh, not a big
Didn't
deal.
matter about the win. We'd already clinched the conference.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
The Rangers were done. Their season was over. But just shows you when you get into someone's crawl space, and that's how it works. If you're going to fight a guy, don't go fight the guy that did it. Go after the other team's best player.
Yeah.
And that's how you get it done.
And that was always the way it was done. And now there's almost an immunity sometimes.
Now, if you did that, there'd be like people in the league would be wanting to know what happened.
Yes.
How can you do that to someone? No, that's just the way it goes. That's Southern justice in certain terms. And Berube understood it better than anybody. But, to think Brian Leach is like, I want to go drink beers after the game. I don't want to walk out of here with 2 black guys and a broken nose and hit the golf course tomorrow looking like someone literally pounded me.
Yeah. And if Chief would have fought Purinton would have had to go a second time.
Never said another, and he never said one word to Purinton.
Yeah.
And Purinton was on the bench next to Leach, and Leach put his arm around there, putting his arm around, going, that was enough, that's enough. Good job.
That is one thing that does aggravate me about people who aren't really big fans of the sport, that they want fighting eradicated. They don't really quite grasp why it's important that the players are policing each other. Because it then, again, if you want to take a run at Matvei Michkov, well, you're now, putting Celebrini at risk. And I think that people need to understand that you got to be held accountable for the, dirty crap you do during the game.
Yeah, and teammates would also hold one another accountable. Like the story there with Brian Leach. Sometimes you take a guy in the stick room, and you say to him, listen, if I have to fight for you tonight, if I shed any blood, you and I are going to have a problem.
Am I remembering this correctly? Isn't that the reason why they brought in Edmonton brought in Lucic to protect McDavid? Yeah. So it was something like that.
Yes.
And McDavid's rookie year, if I remember this right, broke his collarbone. I think it was Brandon Manning that hit him. Yeah. Ironically, it was a Flyers player that ended his rookie season. And then, do you remember the game in Philly the following year?
I certainly remember the game in Philly the following year.
That was wild.
Yes.
And he scored the power play goal, I think, to put Edmonton up 2-0. And I'm not the best lip reader in the world, but I had a pretty good idea of what he said to Manning as he skated by. It was something to the tune of "F you effing B." You guys can fill in the blanks, but
sounds lovely.
That was crazy, but yeah. Anyways, point being, the Flyers won though. Michael Raffo, I believe, scored the game-winning goal in that game, if I remember correctly. Do you want that actually wasn't even, that was just, I came up with that on the fly. Do you want the stat that I had prepared?
Yep.
Did you lose your hearing again?
Yeah, I lost the hearing.
No, jeez.
Yeah.
All right.
Hear anything.
You can't hear anything?
No.
With these headphones?
No, they were on and they just dropped.
All right, we'll keep talking here if you can have a look at it. There is a lot of that. Marty McSorley was 99's person. Yeah, him and Dave Semenko.
Yeah.
In Edmonton. Yeah, I mean, they were, you ask Wayne. Wayne tells you those guys are a necessity. The game has changed so much, though, that you just cannot possibly you can't. It's not like that anymore. Like there's been so much stuff with concussions and head injuries and CTE. Even though I think some people don't deny the case of that, but I mean, there's obvious head issues with guys that played in that past, and I don't think that we need a whole lot of stats to prove that.
I thought Todd Fedoruk kind of on the same point, but he said sometimes when the guy who protects teammates, the policeman kind of guy, changes teams, I mean, you have to really take the safety of your teammates seriously. So a lot of times these guys bond more than anybody else on the team with the guys they're protecting, because you want to feel like you're doing something, you're fighting for a reason, right? And that's also why these guys are so respected within their teams. And I don't think people that don't like hockey can understand or appreciate how much within the room those guys, how much respect that they have.
They're always the most loved guys on the team, I mean, and you realize that when you're sitting on the bench with these guys, they're going out and they know that there's probably going to be a fight, right? Yeah. If that's what their primary job was. It's rare to see that anymore. I mean, who left in the NHL today, Bill, before we get to his stat, is simply there just to fight now?
Maybe Ryan Reeves.
I mean, is Rempe a little bit? What about McDermott in New Jersey?
Yeah.
Right?
And that's about it. I mean, Delorier a little bit.
I was going to say, before Eric Johnson tonight, I think since I've started this gig as the intern of this program, I think Delorier is the only player for the Flyers I've seen fight here. Johnson, I think Eric Johnson is now second. It's not really much of a thing anymore. But someone said, I guess Ryan A. I don't know if he's from the Great White North or not, but he says they have that debate every night.
Yeah, I hear Bieksa talking about it. Yeah.
Kevin Bieksa, that
he's
guy.
talking about it like me and Bill are, just saying like using the just using it as a deterrent. Yeah. How it's used as a deterrent.
Yes.
To keep the sticks down and keep the dirty hits out of the game. And before, I can tell you, you weren't going to lift your sticks. You weren't going to have your sticks up in the air when you had 3 or 4 guys on the other team.
And there's another piece to it too. What you don't have anymore is you don't have referees like Paul Stewart,
right?
Who would say the 3 words that so many guys dreaded. Let him go.
Yeah, I don't have another time for it right now, but I have Paul Stewart stories too.
Oh yeah.
As the ref when we played.
Save him.
I saw him try to fight a fan one night while he was the ref.
Stewie.
Seems reasonable.
That is Stewie. Yep.
We probably could have used him in the World Series the other night to fight the fans trying to take it from Mookie Betts.
Hit us with your stat, intern.
All right. So Eric Johnson's goal tonight makes him the 3rd defenseman this season, aged 36 or older, to score a goal. You want to not the trivia question officially, but you want to take a stab at who the other 2 are. You lost it again.
Number 36-year-old defenseman or older that has scored a goal this year. There's 3 of them. Eric Johnson's one of them. 36-year-old. Let me see.
How old is
Dowdy?
Carlson now?
It's neither of those guys.
Carlson, no. Brent Burns, maybe?
Nope.
No. Batting 0.
Western Conference, Eastern Conference.
They're both. I think they're both East now. I have to look up who the other.
So there's 2 defensemen, Johnson and one more guy, or Johnson and 2 others?
There's 2 more defensemen.
2 other guys. And they're in the East, perhaps.
One definitely is. This other one has changed teams like 5 times. So.
I'm drawing a blank.
Give us one, maybe it'll open up something.
Oh no, I lied. He's in the Western Conference. One of them is Chris Letang.
Ryan Suter.
And the other one's Ryan Suter.
Yeah, I saw. I did see it, but it makes sense because we just played him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Lights are dimming now.
We got 3.5 minutes, so we got time. So the Flyers. I mean, what do you think that period, Bill?
I thought it was a pretty good period. Pretty wide open at times.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Flyers were taking advantage of the space they were getting. They could have had a couple more goals in that period. Cates could have had 2 himself.
San Jose leaves a lot of the middle of the ice open.
Yeah, a lot of space.
A lot of space.
I think Vanacek has done an unbelievable job keeping them in this game. Flyers have had some grade A chances.
He's been
How
pretty
they
good.
shut out Jersey last night?
I don't know.
Yeah, because they sure didn't look like a team coming off a 1-0 shutout. So.
Every night in the NHL, though, if you're not ready to go or you have good goaltending one night, you can beat a team. I don't know how this team beat the Devils last night either. But I had the Flyers winning this game. Did anyone have San Jose tonight?
Well, I'll give you one guess.
Russ.
Yes.
Yeah, and people were asking where Russ is. Russ has got a big meeting in New York City very early tomorrow morning. So he opened the show and is going to leave the intermissions to the 3 of us. and me and Andrew will do a quick post game tonight to wrap this up. Hopefully we get
no
some
more
goals.
than 40 minutes.
No more than 40 minutes, yeah. Less 30.
One question that I did have for you, because you played in this league for many, many years. Is there something to be said about the part of this Sharks schedule right now where they were in San Jose Thursday night for a game, having to fly cross-country, play in New Jersey last night, and then have a back-to-back? That must be exhausting.
Ask Bill. He'll tell you. Did you hear that?
I heard flying cross country. And
Yeah, but they played Thursday night in San Jose and then
Yeah.
two. What's that like, Bill?
Well,
That's brutal.
it's brutal. It's brutal. I mean, that's why when the Flyers played their home opener against Vancouver, you could see what was going to happen coming into that game. Where they were flying back from Seattle, didn't even have a 24-hour turnaround hardly, and they're playing the next day. I don't think people appreciate that. And that's brutal. And it's also not always the back-to-backs, but it's the back-to-backs with a lot of travel in between it or in front of it, or three and four and six. Those are the things that add up on teams.
Do you think it showed in that period? Do you think San Jose looked a little flat?
They didn't have very good legs in that period, but I just thought they weren't defending at all. I thought the middle of the ice was wide open.
It definitely was, yeah. I think that an argument could be made. This game could be 4-0 right now, at least.
Easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vanasek made some saves. Ursun made a couple of good saves, too.
He did, too. Yeah, but I feel like he hasn't been nearly as bothered as
Great
Vanasek
bumper
has.
plays, Bill and me were talking about. The Mishkov to Konechny, that gave them the 2-goal lead. I think the Flyers just need to keep playing the way they're playing.
Yeah, I think so,
Maybe
too.
tighten up a little bit more defensively, but this is a very winnable game, and they should be skating out of here with 2 points tonight.
I think you have to win tonight. I just think you do. You could desperately use it. Bill, thank you again for joining us. We'll give you time to head back over to the press box. And then we have about 35 seconds till the action kicks back up again. I will have the StatCast up and ready to go for you guys to enjoy while the Flyers play in the second period. And we will be back here, second intermission, on the #1 rated pregame, intermission, and postgame show this side of the Mississippi, south of the Arctic Circle, and I think also north of the equator. If I'm
Did
not
Russ write
mistaken.
that down for you? You just remembered that, didn't
No,
you?
I had to remember it from when I played him.
Okay. We'll see you next intermission.
All right, see you later. You want to try it this time?
Oh, yeah. Welcome into the, what did he call it again? The Snow the Goalie intermission.
Oh, no. Welcome back to the Press Row Show. Number
Press
one
Row
rated
Show.
pregame, intermission, postgame show this side of the Mississippi, south of the Arctic Circle, and north of the equator. When you hit that on your first try, it's intoxicating. When you nail a Russ impression, it tickles you a little bit.
Well, you got it, so I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
What we do have to worry about is the fact that the Flyers had a 3-0 lead, and it is now 3-2.
It's the second period that just gets them.
It's the deadly second period, the dreaded second. You know, it's funny because I thought the Flyers had played good hockey. They got themselves to that 3-goal lead. Mishkov with the breakaway.
By the way, did you know that when he scored, you were talking to a guy wearing a Mishkov KHL jersey?
He had his KHL jersey, and underneath the KHL jersey he had the Mishkov Mania Snow the Goalie.
Oh, really?
Jersey.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, so that was actually pretty cool. And right when I was talking to him, Mishkov got the breakaway and scored. You can see the guy's goal-scoring prowess. You know what I mean? Along the ice, 5-hole.
He's incredible.
He's a great goal scorer when he gets the time and space. He's a time and space player right now, and the rest of it will develop and it'll come to him.
And I need to say, credit where credit is due. That pass from Palin was incredible, too.
It
Hit him
was.
perfectly.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but again, though, you know, and I've seen a lot of the comments here too. The Flyers, when they had that 3-0 lead, they started to do things that they weren't supposed to be doing. If they play the game the same way, they're not in this situation. And I think that's probably a little bit frustrating for some of the fans right now too. You know, San Jose. Someone said they played last night. They played Jersey. They won 1-0. Mackenzie Blackwood had an absolute beautiful game for them last night.
Right.
And they got the win.
It's
But you know, again,
team.
yeah, and again, you know, when you look at this team right now, the Flyers. I mean, they had a chance to go in here. I mean, yes, they have the ever so important 1-goal lead heading into the third period. The lead after any period is a good thing. But it's a process of the game and how that worked out. And I don't really like the way the process went in that third period. A little bit too easy. The Flyers got just a little bit lackadaisical. And as a result, San Jose ended up getting the first one, which guy went around the outside of a defenseman. Didn't beat him and just threw a puck to the net, went off the guy's skate. And the second one was just a clear shot through a maze of bodies. But I think that was a result of a really poor clearing play by the Flyers before that.
You did mention that there was a stretch during that second period that probably with around, I would say, 5 minutes out. It was when it was 3-1. The Sharks, just for the life of them, were having a hell of a time trying to get it out of their own zone. They couldn't break the puck out.
Breaking out has been a chore for San Jose, yes. They get the puck to the half boards, and the Flyers have done a good job getting defensemen in to kind of pinch, take away some of that pressure, and they've done a really good job. Here comes Bill Meltzer. You got the headset working again, Andrew?
It should be working.
Should be
now.
working, okay.
I thought maybe he forgot about us.
No, he didn't. He's just getting his end of the period notes down. Bill, we hope it's working this time. Says it is. If it isn't, you can come over here and I'll work on that one.
All right, can you hear us?
We're good.
Let's go.
Bill, we were just talking about the process in that period. I didn't like anything about it.
Yeah.
I liked the Flyers, and someone said it. They had a north-south good game going, and San Jose, one thing went wrong. They put a puck to the front of the net, went off a skate, they scored.
Right.
And after that, the wheels came off the Flyers, and they get a second one. So now, all of a sudden, a game that looked like it should have been over, it's a hockey game all of a sudden.
This has no business being a 3-2 game. And even after they got that first goal, San Jose kept turning pucks over, and the Flyers made that extra pass. I mean, this should not be a 3-1 game. And also, you look at those two wide-open nets that Konechny had, and right now those are kind of looming pretty big in a one-goal game.
The good thing is for the Flyers, though, we said they have the 1-goal lead.
Yeah.
I mean, the third period here, Bill, what has been their strong suit, and what are things that they need to be better at entering third periods?
I think for the most part, the Flyers have buttoned things down a little bit in third periods, depending on the game, right? But more recently, they've taken away the middle of the ice fairly well. I mean, the one thing of the way San Jose is playing, you should have transition opportunities.
Yes.
They should be turning some pucks over, and you should have some odd man rushes, I think, in this period as you move along. You're still up going into the third, so at least hold even this period. You should be able to win it, but it shouldn't be this close.
I agree.
I also think it's worth noting that we spent a big portion of that first intermission talking about how fighting, and for the most part, has gone by the wayside.
Yes.
And we got a second fight.
Yes.
We got Sealer. This one was a little bit more. They were less spinning around in circles. This fight. This was actually a pretty intense battle. But I thought Sealer got the better of Barclay Goodrow on that.
He did.
I thought he did, and I mean, Sealer's a tough dude. You know, he wins most of the. He doesn't fight much, but when he does, he usually wins.
Feisty.
Yeah.
He fights feisty. Yeah, he's a gamer. Barclay Goodrow, he's another one. Boy, San Jose really tried to poach what was left of any like these good teams, right?
Yeah.
Michael Granlund, Barclay Goodrow,
and Granlund's kind of found a second win with them.
Tyler Toffoli.
All these names that have been around a long time. Yeah, it's a veteran team.
Guys,
Remember the Barclay Goodrow claim to fame?
No.
Game 7 against Vegas when they were down, I think, it was 4-1 in the third period.
Yeah.
4 power play goals.
Yeah.
Game ends up going to overtime. Goodrow had the game winner in that.
Emil Andre, Bill, there's a couple questions for you. I know it's early, but what's Andre's ceiling? And I'm looking at a few other things. I got people out here. I'm not ready yet to put him in the same breath as Kimmo Timonen. No, I don't know if he's going to be Kimmo, but what do you think, Bill?
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be as good of a two-way guy as Kimmo was. They're similar in terms of their
bodies.
Yeah. Both little guys, low center of gravity, kind of stocky, and both of them are kind of unafraid to be involved in contact with other smaller guys. I like Andre a lot as a guy with some power play upside. Even last year with the Phantoms. I mean, the Phantoms had a power play over 20% most of the year. They struggled late in the year. But I mean, Andre was really the guy who ran the power play point for them. So I think he's legitimate there. He's a guy who can absolutely play power play in the National Hockey League. I really like too when you learn a lot about young players sometimes when they do make a mistake or have a bad game. You know, he had a bad game in Carolina, and he bounced right back.
Yeah,
and that showed me something.
So that was the guy in Anthony's feet tweet from earlier today. He said that Andre was probably going to get more looks on the power play with Drysdale out.
Yeah, and I mean, he'd already been moved on to the second unit, and now he's on the first unit for a while. I think he might stay there for a while.
I think, maybe. I mean, they have nothing really to lose. Yeah. Although the power play has looked significantly better this season. I think coming into today, they were ranked 18th.
Yeah, well, it was. I mean, the Flyers, for the first 8 games of the season, were 25%.
Yeah.
And the Flyers went to that 1 for 18 thunk. And the one that they had was a 5-on-3 goal in Carolina. Konechny had one. So they were kind of struggling a little. And listen, Michkov's a piece of that. You get him back out there. And I mean, that was just a beautiful tic-tac-toe kind of goal. And great puck movement on that. And I mean that's really this was his first 5-on-5 goal so far this season. His goal tonight. The
really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
He had one 4-on-4. He had one on a delayed penalty, so that's a 6-on-5. But everything else he's done has been power play.
Interesting.
You missed it when you were walking over here. Bundy was actually talking to a guy wearing a KHL Michkov jersey while
the goals were scored. Yeah. Give us our trivia because we're going to have a guest on after Bill, so you can split after this trivia.
Okay.
And then we're having a military appreciation guest on. Thank you.
So the Roenick is going into the Hall of Fame tomorrow, or is it tonight?
They're doing this stuff tonight, aren't they?
Monday, so it's tonight. Yeah.
Okay, so I thought it was tonight. Well, coincidentally, he actually played for both of these teams. Remember, he finished his career in San Jose.
Yeah.
He actually scored his 500th career goal as a Shark. There's only one other player in league history that got his 500th career goal while wearing a Shark uniform. Do you know who that is?
Marlowe?
Yeah. I had a feeling that was going to be pretty easy.
He was kind of there forever. So.
He was only there for 21 years.
Exactly.
I thought maybe I could trick you because he finished in Toronto.
Yeah.
And then Thornton finished elsewhere, Pavelski finished elsewhere.
Thornton couldn't score, so we knew it wasn't
He was just a playmaker, so yeah.
It was a good one though. Usually you're spot on, but we just went with length. That was just an easy guess.
Flyers Sharks is hard to write trivia for. They just have no history together, really.
No, they've had some good games in the past, but nothing that's so memorable. So, anyway, not Thornton. Bill, thanks, buddy.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. We'll catch you next game. Yeah, appreciate you.
Andrew.
Coming on?
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah. Is that our guest, huh?
I don't know if it is. I don't think it is. He's wearing different clothes.
You're our guest from Russ?
I am.
He is. Sit down, bud. Good to see you.
Good to
Chris
see you.
Therien, good to meet you.
Oh, wait, hold on a
You
minute.
too.
Oh, I'm sorry. Real fast.
Russ sent a picture. We said, it doesn't look like this picture. Do you have more of a beard?
Did you change clothes?
I was wearing a Forrester jersey, but I
Oh, yeah,
took
I
it
have
off
this
'cause I
picture
was-
here, right? This is,
I
yeah,
was
there you are.
sweating like crazy. Oh yeah, that's from last year.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh!
Yeah, I was like brand new, sober
So,
last year.
Russ
thanks
texted
for-
us that, and
yeah.
I was like, but he doesn't look like did he shave during the period?
No.
I was so confused.
that's what I was saying. I said, are we looking for a beard? But I figured, well, if you're standing there waiting, you're coming on anyway. We don't know what you had to offer, but you're on. Dude, tell us what you're up to, and I appreciate your military service, right?
Yeah.
And what you're doing for veterans. Tell us about that quickly.
Yeah, we're so I was in the Army from 2004 to 2012.
Thank you.
I was an infantryman. Once I got out, I was looking for a job. I wound up working for the Carroll County Sheriff's Office, working in corrections. And after I talked to you guys last year, I was kind of, knocking it around in my head with another coworker of mine, Kirsten, and we started a podcast. And it's called Shakedown First Responder Podcast. And what we do is we talk to first responders, military vets, paramedics, firemen, police, from everywhere, all over the country. And we have them come on, just tell their story, go from craziest to funniest, and we even dip into the paranormal.
It's really good. And you know what?
You dip into the paranormal?
That's true, yeah. Yeah, because the
Like paranormal, like you talking more like aliens or ghosts or
ghosts and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah, the facility I work at is extremely haunted, and I've had my own experience.
I 100%
I wouldn't walk in
would go.
that joint if you paid me. I don't even know it. I wouldn't walk in there.
I wouldn't sleep there. I 100% would go on a ghost hunt there, though.
It's awesome.
Well, you go knock yourself out.
I used to be obsessed with the show Ghost Hunters.
Oh yeah.
I'm a firm believer. Yeah, I am.
Yeah. Well, definitely listen to the show. We finally got our audio a lot better than the first 5 episodes we did. But our 6th one is out. It was a Halloween special. And yeah, I owe you, Russ, Anthony. I mean, I listen to your show.
Thank you.
All the time.
I
I love
appreciate that. And thank you for what you do. It's a lot to have also done what you did, but then to give back and then to help others, let them share what their experience is. My center, I work with in the recovery field.
Yeah.
One of our biggest tracks is our Heroes track,
Yeah.
which is designed specifically for our military first responders. And they're amazing people. You guys are all amazing people, and can't thank you enough for what you do. Keep rolling, bud. Keep doing what you're doing.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So can you give us a little bit of a tease of the podcast? What's a crazy story that you've told on the podcast? Like, pitch me on your show, because we got a lot of people listening to this.
We got, I'll say one of the craziest ones. I was in our female unit. So I walk into the unit. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Nothing going on. All the inmates are locked in. All the doors are shut. I walk in. I see a big black mass from the door, and it whips around the corner, and it kind of goes around the corridor where the females are. And I see it, and I'm like, I still have a job to do. I have to walk down there, even though I'm terrified. So I walk down there, and I get to about cell 93, and there's a girl standing at the bars, and she's like, please, God, tell me you saw that. And I'm like, yeah, I did. And she goes, what are we going to do? I said, I don't know what you're going to do, but I'm getting out of here.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's wild. That's actually insane.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, we dive in all kinds of stuff.
That's
All
great.
right, tell us what you think your third period. 3-2 Flyers. What are you liking? What are you not liking? What are your thoughts?
I'm liking Emile Andre on defense. I think he's doing a great job. Nishkov needs to work on his passing. And
Okay.
I think...
The goal was nice, though, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, 4-2, I'm thinking
All right.
Flyers.
3-2.
No, he's thinking it's going to be 4-2.
Oh, right. Yes,
Yeah.
that was my pregame prediction, as a matter of fact.
was it?
Yeah, I said 4-2.
Dude, thank you so much for what you do.
Thank
Love
you.
having you on.
One-
Appreciate your stories.
One more
and,
time,
yeah.
what's the name of the podcast?
It's called Shakedown First Responder Podcast. You can find it on Spotify.
Shakedown First Responder podcast.
Okay,
We
yeah,
got
well-
that, and our viewers are it too.
All right.
We'll
Great.
sauce you a couple retweets also.
Oh,
Yeah.
please, God.
We'll put that out there. Thanks,
Awesome.
brother.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate
Thank you,
man.
Michael.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
It's one thing we love about Snow the Goalie. We have great guests, right? We have people that love to actually. He asked to come on and talk about the podcast, and I know Russ. He'd asked Russ. It's more than fine. We love talking about stuff, people's different interests as they pertain to their own life and the Flyers hockey. And that's a great fan right there. So thanks very much for joining us.
First responders also, unsung heroes of this.
Always,
of this show.
everything they do. They see things that no one else sees, and unfortunately for a lot of them, they see some awful things. But so we thank them for their service. We thank the military for what they do. All branches of the military, and we honor them and salute them here tonight at Snow the Goalie, as do the Philadelphia Flyers,
100%,
with this amazing military appreciation game night.
You know my sister was in the Army?
I did not know that.
Yeah. She's
Really?
a first lieutenant, 101st Airborne in the Army. So she lives in Tennessee.
Your family's got a lot right into the
Shout
U.S.,
out to
right?
you, Kaylin. She 0% chance she's watching this right now, but I'm sure my mom will send it.
Well, it's on tape, and the internet lives forever, so
That's
she'll
true,
see it.
yeah.
Happy, it's her birthday, you said?
No, I was just
No,
saying
just
it's,
saying
it's
hi.
Veterans Day.
Well, happy.
Her birthday's in January.
Well, happy birthday to you too, in case we forget.
We'll get there.
All right.
50 seconds. One more prediction for you for what we're going to see in the final 20.
Well, we need the Flyers to have a better start. As someone said, north-south. They weren't playing enough north-south when San Jose came back. When the Flyers play north-south, that doesn't play good to San Jose. San Jose wants to play east-west. They want to make those quick little plays and make kind of lull you to sleep and make kind of pat little plays that can put you to sleep. Flyers need to skate right through that. Be physical, be assertive, get more shots to the net. I actually like his prediction, 4-2. I'm going to say Flyers bang it with the empty netter. Skate out of here with a 4-2 win.
I think it'd be funny if Tyson Forster gets that empty netter. So we have a former number 1 overall pick score and a number 71 score, and neither of them are celebrating.
Right.
That would actually be pretty funny. All right,
We'll be
Flyers
back in
are
a
back
bit.
on the ice. We'll be back, and we'll talk to you soon. say that was probably the prettiest game I have ever watched, but they managed to get it done. We're back in the Press Row Show, #1 rated pregame, intermission, postgame show. 3 consecutive games now for the Flyers, who historically have been very, very bad this shootout, just since the inception of the shootout. But they win 2 out of those 3. And, I mean, the third period definitely left a lot to be desired, but they figured it out and they got the win.
Not a whole lot I loved in this game, to be honest with you, Andrew. I didn't love the way the Flyers were able to secure another goal. Like, you don't want to let a team like San Jose back in a game,
right?
And then give them a 4-on-3 power play to start the overtime. I mean, you got to set yourself up better than that. Good job in the shootout, getting the job done, but in securing the victory. But it could have been a lot easier than that, and we didn't have to be here till 10 o'clock to do it.
Right. So let's talk about Michkov for a little bit, because I think a lot of the eyes were going to be on him and Celebrini as the 2 rookie sensations going head-to-head. He has the goal in the early second period, and then has the goal in the shootout. I would say probably not the best time for him to take a penalty right as the 60th minute expires at the end of regulation. I get to start overtime down 4-on-3.
That was certainly not the way you want to give the other team the man advantage, especially against Celebrini. He's not going to do anything. First pick in the draft. He had a decent game for them tonight, but Michkov decided to retaliate to what he thought was a stick getting knocked out of his hands.
I think he broke it.
He broke his stick, right? And then he turned around. It's up, guys. All right, good win. And then he ends up getting taking the punch, or he gives a punch to the head. That's just you cannot do that. You can't do that. You got to bite your tongue. You got to have discipline, and not put yourself behind the 8 ball in that game. San Jose could have won that game on that power play, and you don't want to give anybody. See you, everybody. Thanks. It was not a pretty game at all by any stretch of the imagination. It was not a pretty game. It was not a super awesome, enjoyable speed game.
No.
And I just think that I would have liked the Flyers to have taken that game in regulation. There's no point giving them any more life.
I think we all would have. But let's talk about how San Jose tied it. Owen Tippett, bless his heart, he's trying. He's just having a really, really unlucky season, I would say, so far. So that, I can't remember who the Sharks defenseman was, but he threw it in front. It bounced off of Tippett's skate and went right on Barclay Goodrow's tape. I don't think there was really much Urshan
Nothing
could
you could do
it.
on that, no. No.
But it's just, I mean, we're all frustrated that, San Jose was allowed.
Well, it's San Jose, and it's not like it was a world beater. You had a 3-0 lead on, and then all of a sudden they come back. You can't let a team like San Jose come back on you like that.
I understand the frustration, but there is also something to be said. When you're playing a Western Conference team, it actually doesn't really matter that you let them get a point. That they get the loser point.
It's not about that. It's about really how you're playing and coming off. I thought they played. Listen, I know they went 1-1-1 in the trip, but I thought they played some good hockey, and I wanted to see them take another step further, and they did for about 35 minutes. And then San Jose got back into the game a little bit, and they made it interesting. But I don't want to see the Flyers win games like that. It's great that they do, but I think it's a lot better if you're able to put a nail in the coffin and just bury this team.
Yeah, in a perfect world. I will say, I thought that they got a little bit of momentum on the road trip. I think the Carolina game was probably a little bit of a crapshoot. They go to Tampa and win, and then they go to Florida, lose in a shootout, but that's a scorching hot Panthers team right now. It's now 3 consecutive games for the Flyers that they've gotten 30-plus shots on goal. Today they actually had 42 or 43, which is the high point for them this season. So as bad as I would say that the second half of that, probably the second half of the second period and most of the third period, it wasn't great, but they were getting shots on net, which is all you can really ask for from this team. And you did say pregame you wanted to see a little bit more energy.
I wanted to see it by 3 keys, and I did them before, was having a good start, which they did. The power play, which they got, believe they got themselves a goal, if I'm not mistaken. They did. Didn't they have a power play goal?
Oh,
they did. Yeah, they did. Yeah, and then and they carried on some of the and getting more shots, generating offense through their defensive push. So they've done a good job, and that was and actually the penalty kill at the end. I just saw something here. Where I thought the 4-on-3 was excellent. An excellent penalty kill in that overtime, by the way. Noah Cates did. Someone mentioned Noah Cates. He had a great kill. Really, really mirrored the puck handler, the possible shooter, taking away some of the cross-seam passes. It was a really, really good, really, actually an excellent penalty kill. That's what gave the Flyers a chance to win this game and ultimately win the game in the shootout.
My guy Brink took a penalty about halfway through that third period, and they were able to kill that penalty as well.
Brandon Ficara's got a great question here too. He's a long regular listener. What would I do with the decor once everyone is healthy? Whew. That's a tough question, and it's going to be really interesting to see with York back in the lineup. And I know Anthony's our like investigative journalist. He'll get a hold of somebody and we'll find out what's going to happen. In a perfect world,
York is back soon, right?
It's getting close. So you're going to go 6 and 8. You're going to go with Ristolainen and Andre. And then I guess you're going to have to take out either Zamula or Johnson and then put I think that makes sense, right? That's the 6th defenseman. Who am I missing? One more defenseman.
Ristolainen? Did you say?
No, I said Risto. Risto, okay. Andre. Oh, and then you're going to have Sealer with Sealer's the guy we're missing, right? Sealer's they're going to play with Zamula or Johnson. If that guy if York comes back. So York and Sanheim. Let's say it's just Risto and Andre, and then you got 3 guys left, right? You got Zamula. Come on, Andrew. You got to be better than this, dude. This is just all
I'm the trivia guy.
Yeah, all right. Anyway, you get the point. So, yeah, they're going to have to fix it because they're going to have too many guys, and they have 3 goalies as well, right? So they're going to have a numbers issue when York comes back, and that's one of the reasons that they're sitting.
That was a question somebody posed in the comments in pregame. Like, how long are they going to do this 3 goalies?
Drysdale's the other guy. Jesus. Oh, you're useless tonight, aren't you?
I thought that they put him on IR.
You couldn't even pull Drysdale when I had a brain fart right now. All right. So they have too many D. And you know what? Again, what's funny? With the 2 young defensemen between Zamula and Andre, which just doesn't look like it's becoming much of a contest right now. I mean, Andre's playing really well. Zamula is the guy I'd rather have win that spot. I'll take the size all day long if the size is better than the guy with the least size. But Andre's playing better than him right now, and it's going to be tough. I mean, from what I'm hearing, he's the toast of the town, the Torts right now. Andre is.
Toast of the town.
Yes, he is.
That's a lot of teas. All right, one more question for me, and then if you want to take any from the chat, otherwise we can get out of here. Michkov, I think, just got out of Torts' doghouse after being a healthy scratch down in Florida, and then he takes that penalty at the end of regulation. If San Jose
didn't bother him much, he went out for the shootout.
That's actually, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
If San Jose had managed to win on that power play, though, do you think he goes back to being a healthy scratch, or are we past that now?
Who's that, Andre?
No,
Michkov. Oh, yeah, I mean, you can't. I thought 1 game would have been enough. I didn't think it was going to be 2 games. Certainly tonight would have been ridiculous. But, yeah, I want to say so. I mean, that's one there where you got to call them in tomorrow and just say, hey, let's have a look at this together. Just here's your stick. It breaks. And you punched the guy in the head at the end of regulation as we were heading to overtime. I mean, you know what happens. They're going on a 4-on-3. What were you thinking? That would be the one question I'd ask him. But if he didn't answer quick enough, I already know what his issue was. He just took an undisciplined, dumb penalty.
Do you think dirty play on Celebrini, though, or no?
I don't know. I don't think it was dirty. I don't think I don't think there's dirty guys like that. Like that 18 years old coming out of Boston University. I don't think Celebrini's a dirty player.
Yeah,
I don't think Michkov is either. But he didn't take any crap. Except you've got to pick your spots in that, and that's not the spot to do that. Anyone's going to tell you that. No one's going to make an excuse for a guy punching a guy in the head and being the only guy going to the penalty box. It's one thing if there's 2 guys, but that didn't happen. It was 1 guy that went to the box, and you just flat out cannot do that. It can't happen.
No, I got you. But so they're back on the road. What is it, Wednesday? They're in Ottawa, and then we're back here Saturday night. Is that correct?
They are in Ottawa on Thursday night, and they are back here Saturday, I believe, against the Buffalo Sabres, if I'm not mistaken.
It's another winnable game.
Catch it. See ya, Mike. Great job tonight, pal. Make no one plays the organ like Mike. That guy's a man.
He's the man, yeah.
Yeah, he's really, really good. Very, very talented.
He's very nice. So yeah, back Saturday night, another winnable game against Buffalo, and then we'll go from there.
Well, Buffalo, you never know who they're going to show up. They could come out one night looking like the Stanley Cup team, and the next night they can come out looking like the worst team in the league. They are. It's all or nothing with them.
Although I will say, with this Flyers team, nothing's impossible. But.
Yeah, they're at Ottawa Thursday because.
Oh, it's Thursday. Okay.
Yeah, they're at Ottawa Thursday night. They thank God because the Eagles play here Thursday, so they're not going to have a double whammy matchup.
Right. That's massive game. Are you going?
Yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, that means I haven't have to miss pregame, but yeah, I'll be there. It's my son's birthday today. I want to first of all wish my son Christopher Jr. a happy 18th birthday. I can't believe he's 18 years old. He's bigger than me now. He's better than me already. Just about everything he does. So happy birthday, kid! I love you. And I wanted to make sure I got that out before the show ends.
Good. Happy birthday.
I love you too, Andrew. You're like a son to me too. You've become one of surrogate.
Well, I'm already Anthony's illegitimate son.
You are. I understood that.
Has he committed to a college yet or no?
He's going to Villanova.
He's going to Nova.
Yeah, he's committed to Villanova on a full scholarship for football and academics, so he's done good. He's a good student. He's a good athlete. He's a great
Cats.
kid. Better kid. Yeah.
Go Cats. Him and Brian Westbrook.
Yeah.
Villanova football players.
And well, there's another one. Everyone says, you say Brian Westbrook. I only knew Villanova for Howie Long. You know Howie Long went there?
I don't think I did.
Yeah, Howie Long, a legendary Oakland Raider, Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I know he is.
He's like kind of they have the big Howie Long room over there. Like he's like he's the cream of the crop of Villanova, I would say. Anybody want to argue that? Go ahead. You could say Brian Westbrook, but I think it's Howie Long. So, but
given the current state of that basketball program right now, they may need your son to elevate the football team and rescue those students.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that.
The basketball team is in danger.
Yeah, that's what happens when they lost the best coach in college basketball because he just didn't want to deal with the transfer portal. I don't blame him.
All right. Unless there's any questions in the
anyone else got anything pressing, anything you absolutely want us to try to answer? I can't guarantee I'm going to give you the right answer or the wrong answer, but I'll give you an answer.
Nope.
Howie Long has the gold jacket. He does, Brandon. Yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. Thursday, Ottawa 7-7. They have some good offensive players. They do. Those are winnable games. They're also very losable games if you don't treat them properly. You cannot give Ottawa time and space because they'll make you pay for that. Same with Buffalo. They have some skill up front.
And your favorite player, Claude Giroux.
Claude Giroux. Yeah, you know what? I mean, listen, he was a great player here. Played a lot of games here, and it was past his time to go, and I wish him nothing but the best. But they're a team like Ottawa's, like kind of the rest of the league. Everyone's kind of middle of the pack right now. But it's how they play on a given night. You got to be ready for a team like Ottawa and Buffalo. This was a good win tonight. Ultimately, I didn't like the process. See it, Todd. I did not like the process at all. I didn't like the fact they came back, but nonetheless, I'll take the 2 points. It keeps you in the standings. It keeps things interesting. And to be quite honest with you, the Flyers have to stay. Bye-bye, guys. They have to stay in the pack. They have to get back up into the pack and make sure they're running with it come the beginning of December.
Well, one game at a time.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm good if you are.
See it, Timmy. Yeah, I'm good, man. We're having a good chat here. We're done, and we'll see you guys back here on Saturday.
A win is a win is a win. We will be back Saturday night. Shout out to all of the troops, by the way, on this Veterans Day. Happy birthday to Bundy Jr. And
thank you.
We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, everybody.